everybody, and welcome back to Farmboy's Garage. It's November the 2nd. I'm down here. It's kind of cool day, and I want to get my little heater going. It died on me back in spring. It wouldn't fire up, so I'm going to turn the camera around. Let's take a look at this little Reddy heater and see what the problem is and see if we can't figure out what's wrong with it. All right, so this is a little Reddy heater, and it is a multi-fuel, and I do burn diesel in it. So I can't really remember exactly how well it did last year. I know that towards the end of spring, actually it was this year, but it's towards spring, it quit firing off. So let's plug it in and see what it will do. First thing I'm going to do is make sure the thermostat's cut all the way up. We'll plug her in and turn it on. Got a little red light right here. Let's see what happens. Alright. Do y'all hear that? It sounds like the fan motor's locked up on it. So I've already took the screws out of this top. So let's take this top off and take a look at it. Alright, so the fan is not locked up. Let me bring you over here. So there's two parts to this. You got an air pump in the back and you got a little blower here. And of course this one's got a hot surface igniter and a nozzle with a fuel pump and an air line running over here to this air pump. Last spring, or actually, yeah, well, it was actually late last winter. I pulled this out of the barn in there and it had a big rat's bed right here. And it ran. I got it running, but later on it quit running. So I wasn't sure exactly what the problem was, but the hoses look good. I replaced the fuel line last year. This is the fuel line right here in the back. This is the air line. I know y'all can't see. All right, let's turn this thing on and see what's going on. All right, she's on. I see the hot surface igniter lighting up. Alright, well now we got a different problem. Alright, so I'm going to turn it off. Alright, so what I believe happened is I think this electric sensor either dirty or it's bad. Alright, so I'm going to cut it back on. We should see that igniter light up in there and the fan kick on. Fuel kick in, running, and then boom. So I'm gonna say more than likely it's this sensor. So let's take this sensor loose and look at it and make sure it ain't all dirtied up with rat bed and whatever. And then if it looks good, we'll replace it. Okay, so here's our sensor, photo eye. Now, the only way to test this would be to shine a light in it and see if the resistance changes. So, it looks clean. There was nothing in it. I'm assuming this was, where it needed to be on here. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4 screws out and drop this plate down. There should be a little board under here where this connects to it. And we'll check resistance on here and we'll shine a light in it. Okay, so here's the board, and these 2 blue wires are the coming from the photo cell. So we'll just unplug these, maybe. Things is on there pretty good. I don't think there's any trick to it. Just get up under it and pop them loose without breaking the board. Goes. There's the other one. And then the board's labeled blue, so we'll know they're in the right spot. We'll find resistance on here, ohms. We'll turn it to ohms. Hopefully y'all will be able to see. I'm gonna see if I can get all this in the shot here. All right, you can see. Open and 0 when I touch my probes together. Alright, so right now, alright, I got them front probed. Yeah, this is probably not too good for them. So I'm showing 140 ohms. I got my finger over the hole. I'm showing 3.6. I put some light on it. Oh, it's jumping around all over. See it? Probably should back probe these things, but these probes are fairly small. I think I can just get them in the little side hole. Let's get a good figure out what in the world we got going on here. Oh, I got a light on now. Alright, so we had, see how it's going 0? So I believe we got a bad connection. So yeah, I'm just, so there's a light on it. It is jumping around everywhere. You see that? 1.6. And just moving around. I got an open link, 1.3, I got 10, I got my finger over open link. Obviously, pretty obvious what we got here is a bad photo cell. So I'm gonna get one ordered up and we'll get her installed. Alright, so before anybody says, hey, you could have left that bracket on there, you can just slide this out, no big deal. So slid that out and got on the Amazon and got us a new one here. I don't know if you can read that. PP 236. It's on, well, it's one of the few I've seen with blue wires. So let's open it up, see what it looks like. Stick this back in first. I'm gonna go ahead and stick. I went ahead and put some stuff back just so I wouldn't lose it. I'm gonna take this back off right quick. And when you, it's been a couple of days since I worked on it, and I had some other stuff going on, so. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna do is stick these cords back in here, just one at a time. So I'll just fit through this little hole. And we'll just fish them back around. They pretty much feed themselves back over this way. Like that. Then we'll stick this in this bracket all the way up to that little grommet there. Should hold it in place. And we'll fix these two blue wires to the board here. Now you can also, you know, if nothing works, you can also check the board, because these boards go bad. They do have a fuse on them, so something shorts out. There it goes. Alright, of course, there's several things that can go wrong. Terrell Fixes All makes a great video. I'll drop a description, a link to his video down in the description here. And he pretty much goes over everything that could go wrong with these heaters, starting from the fuel, you know, the nozzle, the motor, the air pump, the board, the igniter, and the photo cell. These are pretty simple systems, and the parts are really relatively cheap compared to buying a new heater. One of these heaters was about 350 bucks for one like I got. And I just, you know, for $12, $13, I'm gonna keep it fixed. All right, so I'm gonna just temporarily go ahead and put a couple screws in here, just hold this back. And sometimes these heaters don't run long with the covers off. I'm gonna try it without the cover on, just because that's the way we ran it earlier, and we'll see. That works. I'll get you over here where you can see. So, you know, we're going to cut the switch on right here. See that light up? Now we want to see that little igniter light up, and we should see some fuel when this motor. I see the motor's having a hard time turning. Do you see that? I hear it. All right, so I definitely got a motor issue, and it did that before. So I don't know, it may be a pump lubrication issue causing this motor to have a hard time. It could be this capacitor. I have seen a video where these capacitors go bad on them. There's a big yellow capacitor right here that goes bad. We'll try it again. It wants to go. Yeah, it ain't going. Alright, so we run into another problem that we wasn't having, and that's this motor. Could be a capacitor, or it could be the air pump needs lubricating. Really don't know without taking it off and taking it to a motor shop to know for sure it's the motor. This thing does seem like it's got a little more resistance than it had the other day. So I'm thinking it's probably this pump right here. So what we'll do, go ahead and we'll take this pump housing cover off. There's just 4 bolts. You got a air filter and on this one has never been cleaned, as you can see. Pretty dirty. And there's another filter somewhere in here. So let's take this off and see what we got. These pumps do require lubricating. They have little veins in them. I've seen quite a few videos on that. And actually, I don't know if it's not this cover, but it's this part here that we got to take off. This is just the cover to get to that part. These screws here appear all the same. We'll pop that off. See, it's got a cork gasket and it's got some kind of filter here. Here's the other little filter right here, just a teeny filter. So we'll pop this pump housing off. There's 6 screws holding it on. Alright, so you can see that's what that looks like. See, there is some scratches, some wear on that. These bolts are all the same. They're basically the same as the ones in the other housing. Now on this part here, since this thing is loose, we could just tilt it down. This thing's gonna fall out with all these little wings on it. Definitely tell it's, oh shit, don't be dropping stuff. Definitely tell it's dry. That thing's still tight. It's got a lot of resistance. It's got a lot of resistance I would have thought it had on that. So what I want to do, since this is off, let's go ahead and turn it back on, see if this pump will kick on. And though we know it ain't gonna do anything. Now we got it on. Alright, so it's definitely not the pump. It's gonna be, I will say, the capacitor is bad on this motor, or a bad motor. So we had 2 things going on, because this thing was running fine the other day. Y'all seen it. It was firing off and it was dying because the sensor was bad. So now we got to deal with a new motor or a new capacitor. So I guess there's going to be a part 2 to this video. We'll get a, I don't really want to fool getting a new motor, so I'm going to try to get another capacitor and see how that goes, or at least I may take this to a motor shop and see what they can find on it. But either way, it's got to be unwired and all that. So tune in to part 2. We'll see if we never get this thing running again. Alright, so I decided not to do part 2. We're going to include this in this video. It is Wednesday, and I've got another capacitor. I took this one off That's what this looks like. It is a 7.5 microfarad plus 10 minus 5% CBB20. I could not find a CBB20 7.5 microfarad. Could find plenty of 10s and 20s microfarads, but I did find this CBB61. This is an 8 microfarad. This is made for a ceiling fan motor capacitor. So what I've done, it came with 2 of them, and it was like $8 for 2. So I went ahead and I cut the old one out, and I have installed the new one. Soldered it and heat shrinked the connections. And what I'll do, once we know for sure that it's going to work, I'll go ahead and secure this someplace. It does have a little clip here, but I'll probably just tie wrap it. So what I'm going to do right now is get this thing back where it needs to be right there. Alright, and I'm gonna start it up. Now this thing don't have the air pump on, so it's not gonna fire off, but I want to make sure that this motor will run. That's the big thing. If the motor don't run, I'm gonna have to take the motor to a shop to see if they can rebuild it, because these motors are about $130 for the cheap one. Now, $130 for a motor versus $300 for a whole new heater, not too bad a deal, but I still rather not have to fool with it if I don't have to. So let's turn it on. We'll make sure this fan kicks on. All right, the glow plug lights up. All right, so obviously it's not the capacitor. So that was an $8 try, right? I'm throwing $8 at it to save $130, or I'm gonna have to either get this one rebuilt. I think I'm probably just gonna go ahead and order a new motor for $130, and we'll get that installed. Like I said, I don't really want to buy a new heater. I mean, for $130, the heater works great. I'm gonna try it one more time. But apparently it wasn't the capacitor, it is the motor itself. You see, by moving it around a little bit, I loosened up whatever. It's probably the well, this has got a capacitor, so it don't really have what's called it, but it could have a bad winding spot. I'm gonna try it one more time, see what it does. So it barely started, then it finally caught up. And that may run like that for another year. But I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and get a new motor. And what this motor will come with, it'll basically look like this motor. I'll have to change out the fan, and I'll have to take off this pump mechanism right here. It's just two bolts. Bolt the new one on, and it comes with this plate here and all this. So I guess part 2 will be coming. So until then, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the finale. See if we can get this thing going.